Grand Prix Wrestling is just about to get underway. We've got a couple of dandy tag team matches coming up for you on this card. But let's get underway with our first match as the grapplers make their way into the ring area. Introducing, first of all, from Hamilton, Ontario, weighing 230 pounds, Bobby Crawford. And his opponent from Havana, Cuba, weighing 242 pounds, the eighth wonder of the world, the Cuban Assassin. And your referee for this match, Bernie Richard. So we're underway. The Cuban Assassin against Bobby Crawford. A couple of game competitors in this match. Cuban, of course, enjoying a slight weight advantage, but a sizable advantage as far as experience is concerned. Bernie Richard asking for a clean break, and he gets it right away, so perhaps things will settle down here. We'll have some good, clean, scientific wrestling. However, Bobby Crawford pulling the trunks, and there's nothing scientific about that. Bobby Crawford, a young and up-and-coming star from Hamilton, Ontario. He's been making a name for himself here in Atlantic Canada. But he really has his work cut out for him here against the Cuban Assassin. And after many, many years of being on the wrong side of the fence, the Cuban Assassin is now a man of the people. Of course, the fact that his ongoing feud with no-class Bobby Bass is still in gear has certainly helped. I think any enemy of Bobby Bass is a friend of wrestling fans throughout Atlantic Canada, and that's the position the Cuban Assassin finds himself in right now. Bobby Crawford with an arm lock on the Cuban. Both men looking for an opening here, trying to gain some sort of advantage, and now Crawford going to the hair pull was able to take the Cuban down. That may come back to haunt Bobby Crawford a little later on in this match. The Cuban Assassin can certainly fight fire with fire. Now the Cuban Assassin looking to break up the momentum of one Bobby Crawford, but he can't seem to slip this arm lock. Crawford's been able to sustain this hold through the early portions of this match, and he's been having some success with it as he starts to punish the left arm of the Cuban Assassin. Now the Cuban Assassin threatening a closed fist. He was taken down, could have been the hair. Crawford says no. Referee Bernie Richard checking just to make sure. He couldn't see it either. And now, that one we saw, Bobby Crawford going to the pants, the military fatigues worn by the Cuban Assassin for that takedown. Fans starting to get a little edgy here in the studio, wanting the Cuban Assassin to come back and give Bobby Crawford some of his own medicine, and there it goes, a body slam as Crawford goes down. Crawford, though, able to come right back and beat on the left arm of the Cuban Assassin. There you get a look at some of the fans in attendance here for this card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. I mentioned at the top of the program a couple of tag team matches coming up. And they should be some pretty interesting affairs. The great Malumba and Jerry Eteffier are teaming up. Sonny Warcloud and Cousin Mike are another tandem that we'll be watching for on this card. Cuban Assassin still has not been able to solve the riddle of Bobby Crawford as yet. Crawford's certainly taking the right approach. He's working on just one area of the body, and if he can wear down his man enough, then he may be able to be in a position of delivering a finishing hold of some sort. It's still all Bobby Crawford in this match, surprisingly enough. Cuban Assassin now taking his man into the ropes, and a right hand, and another, and another. And the Cuban Assassin throwing his man out onto the studio floor. And I can see the Cuban Assassin has certainly had enough. A body slam right here on the studio floor in front of our interview table. And the Cuban Assassin coming back with a flurry and with a vengeance. Now off the ropes, the Cuban Assassin goes up and over. Bobby Crawford not willing to throw in the towel just yet. And now, a reverse brainbuster of sorts. What a move by the Cuban Assassin. 1, 2, 3. This match is history. The Cuban's arm raised in victory. Bobby Crawford is saying to himself, where did that come from? As the Cuban Assassin was able to reach into his bag of tricks, you might say, and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, because it was all Bobby Crawford up until that point when the Cuban administered the brain buster. We're back with more after this. To Atlanta Grand Prix Wrestling. We've got the first of 2 tag team matches on this card. And we'll get to the introductions in just a moment, as all the participants make their way into the ring area. Let us introduce first of all to my left, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing 235 pounds, Rocky De La Sara. And his tag team partner from Moncton, weighing 240 pounds, Stompin' Paul Peller. Their opponents, first from the island of Martinique, weighing 243 pounds, Jerry Eteffier. And his tag team partner from the dark continent of Africa, weighing 265 pounds, the great Malumba. The referee for this tag team encounter, Ron Gauguin. He'll certainly have quite a task in keeping law and order in the square circle. Well, all the paraphernalia and all the garments have been disposed of. We're ready to go. Start things off. Jerry Eteffier with an arm toss, an arm drag, I guess you'd call it, on Rocky De La Sara. Now De La Sara wanting a little more time to size up the situation. De La Sara attempting to put Eteffier into the turnbuckle was met instead with considerable resistance. Tag team action, as I mentioned, the first of 2 tag team matches on this program. Once again, Eteffier pulling off that maneuver as he climbs the ropes and comes off the other way, pinning his man to the canvas. De La Sara, there you can see, pulling the hair in an attempt to break that hold. A little later on, Nikita Kalmikov, one half of the International Tag Team Champions, will team up with Chuck Sims against Sonny Warcloud and Cousin Mike. We'll also see Leo Burke, the Spoiler, Frenchie Martin, Buddy Lane. They're all in this program. Frenchie Martin, of course, the reigning International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. Now off the ropes, Eteffier receives a knee to the midsection from Rocky De La Sera. De La Sera giving a good account of himself here. He simply leapfrogs his man, but instead is sent flying by Jerry Eteffier. And now De La Sera looking for a tag. And Stompin' Paul Peller says, just a second, I'm not so sure I want to go in against this guy. Peller coming out. And he's shaking his hand. He's offering his hand in a form of friendship. But perhaps things... And now you can see the tag was made as the great Malumba looks to inflict a beating on Stompin' Paul Peller. The great Malumba back in Atlantic Canada after spending a good deal of time on the road all over the world. And Malumba now working on the left arm of Stompin' Paul Peller. A headbutt and another one to the left shoulder. And now a tag, and in comes Rocky De La Sera. He's taking his time. And you can see why is De La Sera finds himself in a heap of trouble. And the great Malumba adding a little extra mustard to that move. Tag, and in comes Jerry Eteffier. Eteffier will go off the ropes, off the middle ropes. And you can be sure that Rocky De La Sera felt the full weight of that exchange. Jerry Eteffier and the great Malumba. They're proving to be quite a tag team. We could see more of this tandem in the future if they keep on going the way they've been going here. Now we'll get into a battle of strength here between Eteffier and De La Sera. And it looks like Eteffier was going to come up with the upper hand, but De La Sera with a couple of boots to the midsection solved that situation as far as he was concerned. De La Sera attempting a pin. Only got a count of one. Jerry Eteffier from the island of Martinique. And he has certainly proven to be quite a hit with the fans here in Atlantic Canada. There you see one of the reasons why, sheer physical strength. As Eteffier is able to get out of that hold from Rocky De La Sera. Count of two. Not enough, of course, in this game. 3 strikes, you're out in professional wrestling. And a drop kick, and out goes De La Sera flying onto the studio floor. De La Sera, he's definitely shaken up. He's going to ask for some time here. He needs a little time to get his senses restored. And now De La Sera is asking for Eteffier to shake hands. And now De La Sera and Eteffier, they came too close together for Eteffier's liking, and he responded right away. Now the headbutt. Tag, and in comes the great Malumba. Another tag made at the opposite corner. Stompin' Paul Peller will have the task of facing the great Malumba. Now Paul Peller is going to start playing a little game of cat and mouse here with Malumba. Of course, I think you can see who the cat is in this case. Face rake, and Paul Peller rakes the eyes once again. And now Malumba finds himself in a bit of trouble. And now Malumba in the wrong corner, subjected to a beating here by Misters Della Sera and stomping Paul Peller. Tag, and in comes Paul Peller as Malumba starts to take matters into his own hands against Rocky Della Sera. It seems they forgot about the tag until now. As Eteffier delivers a few chops and right hands to Peller. And now, a flying shoulder block, complete with a chop, and down goes Paul Peller. Back in comes the great Malumba. Flying headbutt. 1, 2, 3! And what a finish to this tag team match. Della Sera was looking to interfere to prevent that count of 3. And just in the nick of time, Jerry Eteffier came flying over and was able to break up the interference contemplated by Rocky Della Sera. The winners, Jerry Eteffier and the great Malumba. And Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling will continue in just a moment. Well, we have a sensational match coming up now for you on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. A couple of men who have no liking whatsoever for each other. As you can hear the reaction to Leo Burke entering the ring area. And of course his opponent just making his way into the ring as well. We'll introduce first of all to my left from... You're pain, Burke. You're going to bite the bullets at it. You're going to go down. You're going to feel pain. Well, after some pre-fight admonishings, let's introduce first of all from parts unknown, weighing in at 270 pounds, one half of the reigning international tag team champions, the Spoiler. His opponent from Dorchester, New Brunswick, weighing in at 235 pounds, Leo Burke. And your referee, Bernie Richard. Well, there's nothing in the way of a championship or a belt on the line in this particular match, but I guess if you feel pride is substantial, that's reason enough to tune in for this one. Because these two men really don't like each other. As Leo Burke comes crashing down on the forehead of the Spoiler. An arm drag, another one. And the Spoiler quickly makes an exit to think things over. Spoiler claiming that Leo Burke was using the tights. And referee Bernie Richard is warning Leo Burke to beware of the wrestler's tights. Of course, that is illegal according to the rules and regulations of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Burke with a takedown. And referee Bernie Richard right away looking for a possible submission. And Leo Burke starting to dish out the punishment. No class Bobby Bass is making his way to the interview table. And he has a piece of paper in his hand. I'm sure he's got something to say. It is not a piece of paper, Gary Maxwell. This is a contract. You know, there's a new epidemic sweeping the Maritimes, and it seems like only one person has it in the Maritimes, and that person I'm talking about is Leonard. Now, you don't know who Leonard is. I'll inform you right now. Leonard is one
so-called Leo Burke. Leo Burke had rheumatism, arthritis of the fingers. He will not sign the contract to wrestle my man, the great Sheik.
I can't believe that.
Well,
Leo Burke's never
you
been
better
known
believe
to
it.
back down from anyone.
All you people out there, it's called rheumatism of the fingers, of the hand. Leo Burke will not sign. This is the contract right here. Last week I presented it to him like a gentleman on TV. This week I'm presenting it like a gentleman on TV. And what happened? My office had not got no word from Leo Burke. My secretary tells me he doesn't phone. What is going on? He is a big man around the Maritime, number uno. That's Italian for number one.
Well, I will only say this, that Leo Burke, I've known him for many, many years, and he's never run away from a challenge, and if Bobby Bass is presenting a challenge, I'm certain that it'll be met. Leo Burke, of course, has his hands full right now with the spoiler.
That spoiler is one half of the International Tag Team Champion, Danny, and you've got to be tough to be a champ in this territory. You've got to
no
be
question
rugged.
about that. Leo Burke, count of 2, and the spoiler just able to kick out in time.
Well, I'm going to tell you, don't ever count the spoiler out, Daddy. I know the man personally, and I know his wrestling background, which is very, very good. You know, there's no saying, Mac, well, maybe you never heard it. Good things come for those who wait.
I've heard that saying.
Well, gee, I just said it. I guess you heard it. Now, let me tell you something. Are you listening to me, Maclo?
I'm listening.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
All right. You know, I have waited years and years to bring somebody in around here to be tough and rough enough to knock down the like the Leo Burke and Fuzz-Face Commie, Cuban Assassin, and other people. And you know what? I think I got the man. So I'm going to say this to everybody out there in TV land. And I'm speaking English now, not that pulley bon face stuff there, French or whatever. They can't speak French anyway, as far as I'm concerned. They must realize I am not fooling around. They must realize that Leo Burke is going down for the count this summer. They must realize the Cuban Assassin is going back to the sugarcane fields of Cuba. They must realize that I am the greatest manager in the Maritime's history. And he must realize that I was the manager of the year last year in the Maritime. Granted, I was the only manager here, but I was the manager of the year. If you don't believe me, I'll show you the trophy.
How do you, let me ask you this before you go.
I'm not going to the place, Maxwell.
How do you reconcile the fact that while you do the talking, the Iranian Sheik has to do all the work?
Because the Iranian Sheik believes in me.
Why does he need you anyway?
Why does he need me?
Why can't he simply go in there and do his job?
He has been here a total of 3 weeks, my man, and right off the bat, he's done championship matches. That is why he needs me. Like my good friend Lee Marlowe said, you better stop right now before the thing gets tough. My good friend Lee Marlowe, the big country singer. And Lee knows what's going on, Daddy. Matter of fact, he's going to write a big hit song for me and Iranian Sheik. It's called The Legend of Bob Bass.
Well, the legend of Bob Bass certainly...
That'll be the biggest hit Lee Marlowe ever had. You know that? If you're listening to me, Lee, write it up pretty, Daddy, because you know I am the man in the Maritime. And I just hope that Leo Burke's rheumatism or arthritis heals up before a week or so he can sign this contract.
Well, Leo
My
Burke...
secretary is getting tired of sitting in the office, Daddy.
Leo Burke certainly looking in control right now as he whipped the spoiler into the turnbuckle.
It looks like the spoiler's on top of the situation to me. Look at the man. Conditioning. I believe he does 1 or 2 miles every day. Skips, runs. The man's tough.
And now a reversal. Spoiler goes front face first. And now it's
the chokehold. Look at that.
Back into the turnbuckle, and Burke will try again with the sleeper. The sleeper being used here.
Look at this.
And in comes the Iranian Sheik. Drop kick. Leo Burke, another drop kick. This is fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. This is fantastic.
That's fantastic, Daddy.
A disqualification has been called here against the spoiler.
All right. What's that fuzzy face?
Of course, with the interference from the Iranian Sheik, and now the Cuban Assassin coming to Leo Burke's rescue. And now the ring finally clears as the spoiler and the Iranian Sheik make their exit. Bobby Bass with a few choice words for the Cuban Assassin, his bitter enemy.
This is only the beginning. You don't stick your nose in my business,
And fortunately, Leo Burke, although he's wounded right now, does not appear to be seriously hurt. At least as far as I can tell. The Cuban assassin will go in to make sure his friend's all right. And we'll be back with more on Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling after this. Continues here at Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling as Buddy Lane makes his way into the ring area. And we've got the International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion on his way in as well for this particular match. One fall with a 10-minute time limit. And let us introduce first of all the man to my left as he climbs in from Quebec City, Quebec. Weighing in at 261 pounds, the International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, Maniac Frenchie Martin. His opponent from Beverly Hills, California, weighing 228 pounds, Buddy Lane. And your referee for this match is Ron Gauguin. There goes the bell. And we're underway. Buddy Lane against Frenchie Martin. He is the man with the belt. The man with the hardware, as they say. Bit of background on Buddy Lane, former pro football player. Was once signed by the Minnesota Vikings before he turned his attention full-time to professional wrestling. But he was a running back in his football days. And now he's up against a man of lineman proportions in Maniac Frenchie Martin, 261 pounds. Claims he is the Republic's greatest athlete, the Republic being Quebec. But he also says that extends all the way to the Maritimes. And now into a small package. Frenchie Martin kicks out just in time. Buddy Lane with a body slam. And down goes Frenchie Martin rather heavily to the canvas. Count of one before Martin is able to kick out. And Frenchie is stalling for time right now. Frenchie wants a bit of time. Doesn't want any part of Buddy Lane at the moment. And now a face rake as Frenchie Martin will take Buddy Lane and slam him into the turnbuckle. And Frenchie Martin starting to gouge and bite and pull some of those dirty tricks out of his bag. Of course, you'll notice the way Frenchie Martin conducts his dirty work, always with his back turned to the referee. And now it looks as though he's got a bit of a chokehold on Buddy Lane using a piece of athletic tape. That piece of tape that you see coming out was locked around Buddy Lane's throat. And down goes Lane after an elbow lock, an elbow smash rather. Right hand, and that connects, sending Lane to the corner. And now Frenchie using the steel chain on the side of the ring. Now a thumb to the throat. There's no question about that. Directly in front of our cameras. Frenchie claiming he used the elbow. Referee Ron Gauguin not in a position to see the thumb going to the throat of Buddy Lane. And now a chop. Down goes Lane. And Frenchie Martin on top of things here. He is the reigning International Heavyweight Wrestling Champion. And I'll say this, Frenchie Martin has proven he's very capable of holding on to that belt by whatever means he chooses to do so. Buddy Lane giving away, close to 40 pounds in this bout, but Buddy's been also giving Frenchie his share of the business. Frenchie Martin asking, where's Leo Burke? I guess you could say the champion rubbing a little salt into the wound. Now a number of right hands, and Buddy Lane is definitely in trouble. Now Lane coming back with a few chops of his own. Now Lane got something right in the left eye. Martin going with the fingers to the eye, it appeared. And now a knee to the midsection. No question about it, a low blow from Frenchie Martin. That knee coming down in the lower abdominal area. Oh, a boot to the head. And another one. And I'll tell you, Buddy Lane is in for a long match here. Frenchie Martin not willing to relinquish the advantage he currently holds. Delivers another knee to the midsection. Now the referee, Ron Gauguin, engaged in a shouting match with Frenchie, and Buddy Lane takes advantage of the opportunity. Drop kick, and down goes Martin. And here comes Frenchie Martin again before Buddy Lane is able to deliver a couple of right hands. Now into the turnbuckle. And Buddy Lane starting to come back. Lane whips his man all the way across, and now Buddy Lane tried to get a little too eager. His left shoulder going into the turnbuckle. 1, 2, and 1. Martin claiming he was robbed of victory there, saying he had Lane down for the 3 count, but Buddy was able to just lift his shoulder in time. And once again, referee Ron Gauguin has to warn Frenchie Martin about going to the eyes. And now, you can see it there, the wrestling tape, the athletic tape being used on the throat of Buddy Lane. Frenchie Martin, the man knows no limits whatsoever. Buddy Lane felt the full effects of that whipping. And now a body slam looks to be coming up. Make it a shoulder breaker instead, as Frenchie Martin pins his man. 1, 2, 3. It's all over, as the international heavyweight champion throws in another licking for good measure, I guess. Frenchie Martin, the winner, and no doubt about it, although Frenchie dipping into his bag of tricks once again to come up with some athletic tape that we see still on the ring canvas. Unfortunately, referee Ron Gauguin not able to detect that infraction just in time. Frenchie Martin now coming over to our interview area.
I think that Leo Burke just knows that it's better for him to just stay away from the madman. Stay away from the Frenchman, Leo Burke. Never had the class, never will.
Well, there you have it from Maniac Frenchie Martin as he leaves for the dressing room area. Again, he delivers another chop to Buddy Lane before he goes, and we'll be back with more after this. Well, we have a super tag team match to wrap things up on this card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling as Sonny Warcloud and Cousin Mike make their way into the ring area. Let's introduce, first of all, the team to my left from Detroit, Michigan, weighing in at 265 pounds, Chuck Sims.
Right here, baby, #1.
And his tag team partner, one half of the current international tag team champions from Kiev in the Soviet Union, weighing 272 pounds, Nikita Kalmakov. Their opponents from Oklahoma, weighing in at 235 pounds, Sonny Warcloud. And his tag team partner from the Yukon Territories, weighing in at 325 pounds, Cousin Mike. And your referee is Bernie Richard. Well, first we'll dispense of the paraphernalia. Nikita Kalmykov handing off his Soviet garb to the attendant. And to start things off, we've got Kalmykov in against Sonny Warcloud. Off the ropes, Warcloud is able to stand up Kalmykov. And we've got a bit of a stalemate here. Now, Sonny Warcloud just running all over his man and gives Chuck Sims a right hand as well. So Sonny Warcloud not willing to play the conventional game of running over the man and then coming back off the ropes. He instead took the opportunity to simply step all over Nikita Kalmykov. So now Warcloud, attempting the full Nelson, will go instead to the tag against Cousin Mike. And now we've got a full Nelson applied here by Cousin Mike that Kalmykov can't break. The big Russian can't quite get out of this one. And another tag. And in comes Sonny Warcloud. Warcloud's really fired up for this match. He's psyched. Come on, Nikita, come on! And now into the turnbuckle goes Kalmykov, and down he goes after an elbow. Tag. In comes Chuck Sims. Sims, the big kid out of Detroit. He's a rugged individual. But no match right now, it seems, for Sonny Warcloud. Warcloud with a body slam, and down goes Sims rather heavily to the canvas. Now Warcloud, an Indian chop to the head. He also bumps Kalmykov off the ropes. Sonny Warcloud really wreaking havoc here in this tag team match to wrap up this card of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. And now Warcloud attempting to drag his man down as well. A knee to the back from Sims. And into the wrong corner goes Sonny Warcloud. Sims and Kalmykov. An unlikely combination from a political standpoint. Sims, of course, being a tried and true American right out of the Motor City of Detroit, Michigan, and Kalmykov being a wrestler of Soviet origin. I think one of the few times you'll see the United States and the USSR team up in anything. But money is the name of the game in professional wrestling, and as a result, Chuck Sims has no qualms whatsoever about joining forces with a Soviet if it means a few dollars in his pocket. Off the ropes, Kalmykov comes down heavily. And Sonny Warcloud's in trouble, count of two, before Warcloud gets out of the situation. Now off the ropes, an elbow smash. And Warcloud really in trouble here. He needs a tag in the worst way right now. Count of 1, 2 before Warcloud is able to kick out. Another count of 2. Now a tag, and in comes Chuck Sims. Big boot to the midsection. And a right hand. Sonny Warcloud, body slammed. And now Sims found his target missing. He was thinking Warcloud would be there. Now Sonny Warcloud starting to dish out some of his own medicine. And Warcloud went into the steel post, his left shoulder going into the steel post, as he was looking to really do a number on Chuck Sims. Now from outside the ring area, Kalmakoff starting to give it to Sonny Warcloud. And now Cousin Mike to the rescue, sends Kalmakoff into the steel post. I'll tell you, Sonny Warcloud really in trouble out here. Poor Sims throws him back into the ring. First Warcloud going into the steel post, then Cousin Mike to the rescue, sending Kalmakoff the other way.
Come on, Indian!
Chuck Sims saying, "Come on, Indian." Warcloud feeling a little dazed right now.
Hey, Russ. Come on, man.
And now some illegalities taking place behind the back of referee Bernie Richard. As Sims and Kalmakoff continue to do their thing. Now Warcloud coming off the ropes. Count of 1, 2, and Kalmakoff just able to get out. Here comes the tag. And in comes Cousin Mike. He is fired up. Cousin Mike beats on Kalmakoff with about 4 right hands. Another. And now on Chuck Sims. Cousin Mike is cleaning house. And he bangs heads between the two combatants, Kalmakoff and Sims. Up and over. Wow. Chuck Sims came from about 8 feet high onto the canvas, and only for a face rake was able to turn the tables on Cousin Mike. Now into the turnbuckle, and Chuck Sims is down. 1, 2, 3. This match is all over. This match is over. The winners, Sonny Warcloud and Cousin Mike. Chuck Sims, a little wounded after what happened. We've still got a few minutes left on this Most Falls to Curfew. Now we'll get ready for the second fall. The bell goes, and in steps Chuck Sims against Cousin Mike once again. So a tag, and in comes Warcloud to try for that second fall and put away Chuck Sims and Nikita Kalmakoff. Now Warcloud starting to work over Sims a little bit. And a boot to the midsection, a couple of right hands, another one. And his face driven into the canvas. Chuck Sims really wishes he was someplace else, maybe back at his hometown of Detroit. Finally, Sims able to relieve the pressure and sends Warcloud into the waiting boot of Nikita Kalmakoff. And Warcloud not willing to stand up and be beat on in that enemy corner. Instead, it's coming back and started to dish it out against Kalmakoff. An Indian chop. Kalmakoff took all of that. Tag, and in comes Cousin Mike. Cousin Mike, he gained the first fall for his team in this Most Falls to Curfew match. Now Cousin Mike with a headbutt. Kalmakoff missing with a roundhouse left. And you can see the sinister approach of the spoiler to the ring area.
I want you people to know that I'm the one that should be in there wrestling. We are the International Tag Team Champions. And if I was in there, that fall never would have went down. We would still be number one, like we are number one.
Well, there you hear the spoiler.
Come on.
His thoughts, of course, very predictable. He and Kalmakoff quite used to having things their own way, but such is not the case in this match. With Kalmakoff now being subjected to a count. 1-2 is all. And now a right hand from Warcloud sends Chuck Sims sprawling. A double Indian chop. And Warcloud is sent back to the other corner. Kalmakoff with a left. And another. Nikita Kalmakoff being exhorted here by his tag team partner, his regular partner, the Spoiler. Now a Russian backbreaker. 1-2 is the count. And Cousin Mike is able to come to his partner's aid just in the nick of time. Here's Chuck Sims to try his luck. Sims going after Warcloud with a face rake. Now into the other turnbuckle, and Sims found his opponent not there as he expected. Into the knee of Cousin Mike, a tag. Let's see if Cousin Mike can pick up another fall here against Chuck Sims. Well, they've run out of time. There goes the bell. The winners, by virtue of a single fall, Cousin Mike and Sonny Warcloud. Let's hope this thing sorts out cleanly as Sims is thrown out to the studio floor. And their arms raised in victory, Sonny Warcloud and Cousin Mike. That's about all we'll have right now. We'll be back with more to wrap this program up in just a moment. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling. Another sensational card, I'm sure you'd agree. So on behalf of everyone here, this is Gare Maxwell wishing you a very pleasant week, and we'll join us again in 7 days.